Hello, you gorgeous individuals, it's Cobb here, and today I'm going to be reacting to your assumptions about me. So today, April 3rd, is actually my 3-year booktube anniversary, meaning that I have been here on booktube for 3 years as of today, which is honestly wild to think about because it feels like just yesterday I was a 14-year-old who was just getting the hang of high school, who finished the latest Cassandra Clare book at the time and wanted to discuss it with YouTube, but now it's hello, you gorgeous individuals, it's Cobb here, and today I'm going to be reacting to your assumptions about me. So today, April 3rd, is actually my 3-year booktube anniversary, meaning that I have been here on booktube for 3 years now, which is honestly wild to think about because it feels like just yesterday I was a tiny 14-year-old who was just getting the hang of being in high school and had read the latest Cassandra Clare book and just wanted to share it with YouTube, and now it's 3 years later and I am a senior about to graduate high school, and whereas I don't think my love for Cassandra Clare is something that will ever change in my life, I have also broadened my reading tastes and my channel to be something that speaks up for issues that I consider are truly important in the world today, and none of my growth as an activist would have happened without YouTube, so I am just super thankful for these past 3 years. But sentimental feelings aside, I wanted to do something super fun and easy for this 3-year anniversary, and the reacting to your assumptions about me trend has been growing on YouTube for a bit of a while now, and then it started making its way into our little corner of the internet. I saw a few other booktubers doing it, so I thought it's my 3-year booktube anniversary, maybe I want to share a little bit more about myself with you guys, but I didn't want to do something as generic as a Q&A, so I thought this might be something a little bit more fun and exciting to do since it also involves your involvement. So I went on Instagram, I asked you all to send me some assumptions you had about me, and I also asked you guys on Twitter like 3 times. If you can't tell, I'm very excited for this video because I love this trend and you guys came through. You gave me I think about 30 assumptions that I have to go through, so let's just get started. The first assumption is you get real annoyed when people call it chai tea. And I can tell you that this one is absolutely correct. So if you don't know, chai means tea. So when you say chai tea, you're saying tea, which is the same as if you say non-bread, you're saying bread. And that sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud like that. So when people say chai tea, that is what I hear. And I just think that it's honestly hilarious that the Western world has taken the word for tea and basically made it to mean a specific form of tea, because you know, when you hear chai in this part of the world, you think of a very specific form of tea. Generally, you think of a spicier form of tea, or at least that's what I think of. So I just think that that's honestly hilarious. But yeah, I don't know if real annoyed is the right thing, but I do think it's kind of funny, and it does get on my nerves a bit when it happens too much. You're a very soothing person to talk to when you're going through some shit. So I'm assuming this means that I am a very soothing person to talk to when someone else is going through something. And first of all, I want to say thank you because that is a huge compliment to give a person. I don't exactly know if I am a very soothing person to talk to because I don't really talk to myself when I'm going through stuff, but I would like to think so. I try to be soothing at least, and I'm glad that I am putting out that vibe for some people out there. I do think that people come to me with their problems a definitive amount of times to say that I feel that I am of some help, because people definitely tell them to me enough amount of times that I have grown to believe that. So I hope I'm a soothing person to talk to, and I am very thankful that that is the vibe some people are getting from me. And yeah. So I got 2 of these assumptions about traveling, essentially that I would like to travel more often or that I would travel the entire world if I could, and I can tell you that this one is totally right. I love traveling. I love going to new places. I love learning about new cultures. I love seeing new things and having new experiences. It's something that I really enjoy. But that being said, I hate flights with a burning passion, and the prospect of travel does give me a high amount of anxiety. But in spite of that, travel is something I really enjoy, and it is something that I want to continue in my life. I have been fortunate enough to be able to go to quite a few places so far. My favorite place that I've ever been to was Prague. It was absolutely gorgeous. I loved it there, and I do enjoy traveling, but it also gives me anxiety, and that's a hard thing to balance. But if I can continue to be fortunate enough to have these new experiences, I would be so happy. You love me! And this one is from my best friend, so yeah, you're right. I do love you. I thought that was a fact, not an assumption. Apollo is your favorite pet. Now, if you haven't been following me for that long, Apollo is my dog, and Artemis, right here, is my cat. And I think that this is a very rude assumption because how dare you assume I would choose a favorite of my children? So no, Apollo is not my favorite pet, but if you want to know who these two favorites are, Apollo's favorite is my dad and Artemis's favorite is me. Even though it does not look like it at all right now, she looks like she wants to leave. But I'd like to believe I don't have a favorite pet. But if you really asked me, like 200 million times, I think I would say that Artemis is my favorite. More because cats are my favorite animal than anything, and I was the one who chose Artemis, and I'm her favorite, and Apollo was more of my parents' decision, but I love him, and he's amazing, and I love all my animals, and she wants to leave, so I'm gonna move on to the next one. Bye, thanks for joining us. You prefer winter over summer. Now, for a long time in my life, I think that this one was actually correct. I definitely preferred winter over summer. I thought that I was a cool emo teen who liked everything that was associated with cold and darkness. And I do really like winter still because I love the holiday season. It's my favorite time of year. I love the joy and the happiness that comes with it. But I also have learned that I actually kind of like summer. I like that summer allows people the opportunity to go out and do things. So I don't know if I really prefer one over the other. I think I really like the in-between seasons more, spring and fall, with fall being my favorite, as everyone who knows me probably knows by now, because I just think that the in-between seasons allow for more of both of those extremes, and winter and summer are just two ends of the spectrum. You only have a few close friends, but you trust them with your life. Now, if you had asked me this at this time last year, I probably would have said yes to this one immediately. But now, flash forward a year later, and I actually don't think I agree with this. At the beginning of this year, I unfortunately had a few friend falling outs that just went very badly. Some people who I thought I knew and loved dearly turned out not to be the people that I thought they were, and it was really challenging for me for, at least a month, if not longer, and it is definitely still something I'm getting over because, a friend breakup is just as hard, if not harder, than a romantic breakup, and that was definitely not easy for me, but it also, I think, allowed me the opportunity to understand that I don't need to have just one circle of friends. It was, I think, late last year when I started realizing that I'm an extrovert and not an introvert. So I started working really hard to expand my friend group, and that's something I really focused on for quite a good portion of the summer, and I think I started to succeed at that. And whereas this friendship breakup, since it was with two people, has not been positive in a lot of ways, one thing it has allowed me to do is to expand my circle even more, and I've really been making more connections with more people. So I'd say that I have a much bigger circle of friends now, and I'm really happy this way, not because I think that the number of friends you have matters in any such way, but because I'm an extrovert and I get my energy from being around people, and the bigger my circle, the more people I have the ability to hang out with. So that's something I'm really working on prioritizing more this year, is meeting new people and forming new friendships, and that's something I'm really looking forward to doing in college, even though it is hard for me at first because balancing being an extrovert and having social anxiety is not the easiest thing in the world, but it is something I'm learning to be more comfortable with, and I am doing better now. I don't know why I just shared this long ass story to answer this question, but yeah, that's basically it. So no, I don't think so. Not that I think having a small circle of friends is bad by any means. I just think that I am someone who thrives off of having a lot of people in my life. You drink too much coffee. Now this one is a bit of a call out, but I actually would negate it. Again, if you had asked me this maybe 1 or 2 years ago, I probably would have said yes to it. So maybe everyone thinks I'm still the same person I was at this time last year, but I have done some growth in that time. So I love coffee. If you don't know, I still love coffee. Big fan of coffee, but coffee worsens anxiety, which is, what the medical professionals say, which is rude. So I have started to step back on my coffee, and I do still drink coffee, but just not as often as I used to. So now I think I drink like a much more limited amount of it, and when I do get it, it's a little bit more of a treat than just a regularity, which is nice in a way. So I do still drink coffee, but definitely not as much as I used to because self-care and mental health. You are very organized. So now it's time for a little bit more oversharing, which is what this entire video is. There are two versions of myself. There's normal Kav and there's depressed Kav. And normal Kav is very organized, is very on top of everything, is just thriving all the time. Depressed Kav, on the other hand, no, none of that happens with them. So Some of these things are a little bit hard for me to answer because I have to navigate between the two versions of myself that can sometimes come out, and right now I am in a place where I am quite depressed, honestly, so I am not as organized as I generally am, and it's something I'm working on because it is something that makes me feel better. So it really depends on where I'm at mentally at the time, because you know, a month from now I could tell you that I am the most organized person in the entire world. It kind of just depends on how my mental health is doing at the time, and right now it is in a place where organization is not my priority, but it is something I'm working towards. You'd be totes down to reading an urban fantasy / crime drama, slow burn FF romance I want to write. So first of all, I'm gonna say that that sounds incredible. It sounds like everything all the sapphics have ever deserved. I'm not sure if you're actually asking me to read it at this moment in my life, or if you're asking me if I have potential interest in it if it becomes a book out in the world, and definitely yes to the second. At this moment in my life, if you're planning to give it to me, I can't read it, but I do think it sounds amazing, and I wish you the best of luck with your writing or with wherever you are in your journey, because we definitely need more FF books out there. There are so few, so I wish you the best of luck because that sounds amazing. I assume you're so talented and people should give you all the praise and love and attention. First of all, Courtney, I love you, so thank you. I don't really know how to respond to that because I don't know how to take a compliment, so moving on. Okay, but the real assumption is you're not a picky eater. You'll try all different kinds of food. So I'm in between on this one. First of all, I am a vegan, so that limits my choices of what to eat by a ton. But outside of that, outside of being vegan, which, you know, does leave you with limited options, I am actually pretty open to trying new food. I like exploring. If you can assure me it's vegan, I probably will eat it. I'm not too picky about that, so I guess yeah, it's true. Yes, you're right. I assumed you love Cassie Clare books and you're also a writer. Well, you're right about both those things. I do love Cassie Clare books. Evidence A, Evidence B, and Evidence C and D are down here as well. And I am also a writer. I am working on my first ever novel. You're amazing. Again, thank you, Olivia. That is very, very sweet, but like I said before, compliments are not my forte, so sliding on. You have a lot of extra school activities. This one is untrue. I actually do not have all that many school activities. I am on my school's newspaper, and that's about it. I used to be a part of my school's GSC. I'm not anymore, so no, I'm not very part of school activities. I dedicate a lot more of my free time to booktube and writing and other pursuits that interest me, and I don't think that my school just has a lot of groups or activities that are specific to my tastes, and also I don't like my school, so I try to limit the amount of interaction I have with it. You prefer iced coffee to hot coffee. This one is 100% correct. There are very, very few occasions I drink hot coffee. If it's really early in the morning or if I am absolutely freezing. But 9 times out of 10, I will take iced coffee over hot coffee anytime. Pink is one of your favorite colors. Not only is pink one of my favorite colors, it is my favorite color. My earrings are pink if you can't tell, they're pink hearts. You're not really into TV. This one is completely false. I love TV. I just don't think I talk about it enough on my channel because I talk about books on my channel, but I love TV. My biggest struggle when it comes to reading is choosing whether to watch TV or whether to read. And Netflix is right there. That requires a lot less mental effort from me, so it wins a lot of the time. But yeah, I do love TV. I have been considering making more TV show style videos on my channel, but I don't always just want to do reviews, so I'm trying to come up with more creative ways to talk about shows that I really like, but it's a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, I love TV. I also happen to love the worst form of TV, which is trashy drama, and that is my ideal form of TV, but I pretty much give anything a shot. Vegetarian? So not only am I a vegetarian, I am a vegan. Not super into sports. Yes and no. I am not into the classic sports you think of when you think of sports. Like, I'm not really into basketball or football or baseball or anything of that sort. But I do like non-traditional sports. I love figure skating. I love dancing. I am a pole dancer now, officially. That's fun. I'm taking pole dancing classes. So I like forms of sports that aren't always given the same amount of attention as I believe they should be. I really like more of the artistic sports type things. You were a theater kid. Yes. Yes, I was a theater kid. I love theater, big theater fan. You're kind of a science nerd. I am not, in the slightest. There's probably nothing I like less than math and science. Although, with science, there are more caveats. For example, I love psychology. I'm super interested in it. I'm planning to possibly pursue it in the future, so that is my one caveat to science. But outside of that, I don't like the typical forms of science like physics or chemistry. Yeah, those don't cut it for me. You love to sing but aren't sure if you're good. Again, yes and no to this one. First of all, I do love to sing. I do have some insecurities about it because I have insecurities, but like on an objective level, I do know that I am good because I have been learning singing for over half my life, I think for 10 years now. So I do know that I have gained some skill, but like I do have some insecurities about it because it is a vulnerable thing to put out there. Perfectionist? So again, I'm going to jump back into the two types of cough. There is normal cough and there is depressed cough. Normal cough is a big time perfectionist. Depressed cough, not so much. So again, depends on where I'm at mental health wise. And yeah, that's that on that. You don't want anything to do with the in/popular crowd in school. So first of all, I go to a school where there really isn't that kind of form of popularity. I don't really consider any group of students at my school to be the popular or in crowd. I had some bad experiences with popular kids in my middle school, and I say popular because we were in a class of 24 and somehow we had a hierarchy. I still don't get that, and I did not enjoy that, but I don't want to assume that that means every crowd is essentially going to be like them. My way of forming friendship is not defined necessarily by how popular someone is. It's just defined by if we get along, and luckily at my school, that is one of the more decent things about it, is that generally that's how friendships work. There's not really that big a hierarchy ranking, so friends just happen organically and naturally, and yeah. You get annoyed when people think asking about pronouns is weird. Yes, you are 100% right. I think asking about pronouns is one of the most polite things you can do, and people who try to twist that into something weird or abnormal are... It frustrates me, and I do understand at times that comes from lack of education or lack of exposure to this, and a lot of people are willing to learn, but then there are some people who just stay steadfast in their beliefs, and more than anything, that's what annoys me, because I can understand if you were never exposed to this growing up and this is something new for you, because it's new for a lot of people, and if they're open-minded and willing to learn, I think that that is brilliant. It's the people who buckle back and just defend themselves and are not willing to evolve and change that frustrate me. You seem soft, but if somebody hurts your friends, you'll end them. So again, yes to this one. I am surprised that I seem soft because I have had multiple people tell me I was intimidating when they first met me, which was a big surprise because I don't consider myself intimidating in any fashion, but I have also had people say the opposite, so I guess it just depends on the person. But yeah, I genuinely consider myself to be a very nice person, but if you do go after my friends or family, I will hurt you. I think that loyalty to your friends and to your loved ones is one of the most important things out there, and it is something I consider a huge priority. Loyalty is one of the most valued qualities for me, so yes, completely. You are freaking loud, proud, and gay. Yeah, you basically got me right on the dot. That's my new bio, loud, proud, gay. The kind of person you don't want to pick a fight with. 100% yes to this one. Like I said, I consider myself to be a very nice person, so if I do get angry, I get angry with a reason. I take a lot of shit. I have taken a lot for a long time in my life, and I think that that has given me a thick skin, which is good in some sense, because people used to be very willing to take advantage of me, and I had to learn how to fight that. So yeah, if I get angry, it is with good reason, and I don't get angry often, and generally, I try to handle conflicts maturely, but if I am truly frustrated and angry, that comes with good reason, and that can get ugly. She's confident and proud. Again, I'm gonna say yes and no to this one. I do think I put on a very confident persona, so I completely understand where this is coming from, but to an extent that is a persona, I do have a lot of insecurities that I barely ever talk about. I think I have more insecurities than people realize because of how confident I seem. So yeah, I am proud of a lot of things in myself, and I'm learning to become more proud of my accomplishments and more proud of the person that I'm becoming, and I'm learning to become someone who is proud but also acknowledges my faults and is willing to keep growing and changing and can be proud of my willingness to do that. But it is a challenge to get there, and society marks confidence up to vanity, which I think is completely incorrect and is a rant for a completely separate day, because it is something that has made me learning about confidence so difficult, because I often conflate the two without realizing that you can be confident and strong and still care about other people. The two aren't mutually exclusive. You don't have to be confident and selfish all the time. You can be confident and caring, and yeah, it's a struggle, but I'm working on getting there. And yeah, on that bright note, those were all of the assumptions I had to talk about today. I definitely overshared a bit, but it's fine. Thank you to everyone who sent in assumptions. Like I said, I was super excited to film this video, and I'm very, very glad I got the chance to. But yeah, it has been 3 years for me on BookTube, and like I said, that is just absolutely wild to think about. I was recently watching a video of a friend of mine, Cassie from Miss Sassy Cassie. She was celebrating her 5-year on BookTube anniversary, and in that she mentioned how sitting down with the camera one day just changed her life. And it was the same way for me. Just one day I was like, you know, I want to make a BookTube channel, I want to talk about Lady Midnight, and I filmed a video and my life changed, and I didn't know that it would, and I didn't know that it could in such a big way. I discovered BookTube 5 years ago, and I discovered my love of reading 5 years ago, and 2 years later I became a member of the community, and now I truly do feel like a member. It took me a long time to get there, and it wasn't anything anyone said or did. Again, it was my personal insecurities and my own projections, but now I truly do feel like a member, and I don't think this community is perfect. I don't think any community is perfect. I think that there are flaws everywhere you go, but I think that this community is loving. I do. I think this community is so caring, and the people that I have been fortunate enough to meet have embodied that so well. They truly have been caring and welcoming, and I just feel so thankful for the people who have made me feel so welcomed and so wanted in this community. I honestly can't wait for where the next year is going to take me and my channel, because I finally feel like I am getting somewhere with this channel. I finally feel like I'm breaking some ground, and I feel like this next year is really going to exemplify that. So I am so excited for my BookTube pursuits and for my pursuits with writing and just all of that, and I'm excited that you all are going to get to come along on this journey with me. I'm so thankful for all of your support thus far. I really truly am. It can get discouraging sometimes because some channels grow bigger than others, but I'm glad that I have met all people who are so kind, and you know, that makes up for anything else. I'd rather have a good following, I guess. I don't like necessarily the word following in that way, but I'd rather have, you know, people who are watching my channel who are caring and who are loyal and who are willing to help improve this community with me, and who are willing to help grow this community to be more inclusive and more accepting of all different kinds of people, rather than have an arbitrarily large amount of subscribers. Although I would appreciate if you subscribed, because I also would like to grow my channel too. But yeah, I'm so thankful. I don't really know what else to say. I'm thankful, and I'm so happy to call myself a booktuber and to call myself a part of this incredible community, because it really is incredible, and I am excited for where we are going to go next, because there are so many people in this community who are doing amazing things, who are also breaking amazing ground to further this community, to further our acceptance and inclusion and our willingness to have discussions about important topics. So I am so excited to see that grow, and I'm so excited to be able to call myself a part of that movement. I'm very excited for this next upcoming year, and I hope you will subscribe and join me on this journey. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe, because that stuff makes me happy. And go ahead and leave a comment down below about anything, really, about what your time in this community has been like, about an assumption you have about me, just anything. Just comment something, and I will definitely reply to that. And as usual, all of my social media and my Goodreads will be in the description below if you'd like to follow me anywhere else. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a lovely day or night wherever you are. Please remember that you are beautiful and you deserve the world, and I will see you soon for a brand new video. Goodbye!